Well, could we acknowledge ourselves for showing up today? I always like to start out with acknowledging ourselves, because what we give to ourselves is what the world gives to us. What you give to yourself is what the world is giving to you. What you give yourself is what the world is giving to you. So before I get started, I'd like to welcome everybody that's here and here for the first time, and share with you the guidelines of the Way of Mastery class, which is a mixture of the Way of Mastery and the Course in Miracles. And that's that you need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. Some of the ideas are going to be quite startling and hard to believe. But if you use it, you'll see that it works and you'll see that it's true. So the best way to go about hearing something that may be different from what you've heard before is, at the very beginning, do not insist that you believe what I'm saying. Because when you think I'm asking you to believe what I'm saying, as soon as I say it, then the temptation will be not to hear it. But if you know you can hear it and it's okay if you believe it or not, then it kind of keeps our mind open to hearing what's being said tonight. So are we clear that I'm not trying to convert or convince anybody in here that you don't have to believe what I'm saying, but I'm going to share it anyway? What's going on, brother? And so I'm going to start out with kind of a meditation to get us tuned in. And what I'd like for you to do is just take a minute to just tune in and let yourself, it probably would be even more powerful if you close your eyes and you let yourself focus on my voice and on the music and the experience that we're having for a minute, and kind of let go of the day. And know that you're going to go into weird land now. And so weird land is where I need to be right now. Weird land simply means that it's a possibility that I might hear something that's different from what I already believe, or I might hear something that's totally in alignment with what I believe, and then it reinforces that. So let's go into it. Relax, close your eyes, and just let me go for it for just a few minutes. Oh yeah, let's do it, Al.
Oh, somebody somebody's a blessing. Tell me
Talk to me.
Is it so hard to find?
Why is it so hard to find a way to come together
with peace of heart?
With peace of heart and mind.
And no one can deny we can't survive in this world.
We can't survive in this world alone.
They try to warn how we made it so far.
How we made it so far, only heaven knows, because you got to
Keep on pushing love.
no matter what you're going through,
Keep on pushing love.
no matter what's happening in your life,
Keep on pushing love.
no matter how you feel, if you keep on pushing love, you can't go wrong. How will you decide to use your time? How will you decide to use your time?
Is it so hard to find?
Why is it so hard to find a little understanding?
How can we be so?
How can we be so blind?
We're all on this earth for whatever it's worth. By God's design.
We're on this earth by God's design.
Every child deserves for his voice to be heard by all.
We deserve for our voice to be heard by all mankind. We got to,
Keep on pushing love.
even when we're rolling pissed off,
Keep on pushing love.
when we are mad as hell,
Shouting to the heavens above.
when we are totally fearful,
Keep on pushing love.
when no one seems to understand us,
Keep on pushing love.
when you're upset with yourself and you can't go wrong. Yes. Find yourself here in the present moment. Be in the present moment. Be in the present moment. Can you remember that you are here? Can you remember that you are free? Can you remember that you are free to see things differently?
I know that it's not a dream.
Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. We can live together
If we just believe
if we just believe.
in the good of each other, respect one another, we'll all survive.
Yes, we will.
We'll weather the storm, new day will dawn. Sun is gonna shine. We've got to keep on pushing love.
You're free to look at things differently.
Pushing love.
You're free to look lovingly.
Until the heavens above.
You don't have to wait on anything.
Keep on pushing love. And we got to keep on pushing love.
You are free to see things differently. I am free to see things differently. I am free to see things differently. You are free to see things differently.
Keep on pushing love. Yeah, I'm gonna keep on pushing love. The sun is gonna shine. Keep on pushing love. Hey. Keep on pushing love. Don't you know we got to keep on pushing love.
You are free to see lovingly. You are free to see things differently. See things differently. I am free to see things differently. You are 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 free to see things differently. We're going to be in the way of transformation, in the way of mastery. We're going to be in the part that's lesson 20, vigilance for the kingdom, the key to transformation. And the section we're going to cover tonight is the key to transformation, accept complete responsibility, on page 243, lesson 20, in the way of transformation. And so I'm going to cover about 10 minutes of material, throw it open for discussion and questions, and then cover 10 more minutes, and that way we get a chance to move further in the material, but also get a chance to get into questions that we want answered. Is that fair enough?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, the key to transformation. Now, what is the key to transformation? What would be the key to transforming? The key to transforming is assuming complete responsibility. Assume complete responsibility. The key then to the transformation of your lived experience while your body lasts is to assume complete responsibility. Now, what do you want to assume complete responsibility for? How you are choosing to use your mind. Assume complete responsibility for how you're choosing to use your mind. Assume complete responsibility for how you're choosing to use your mind. Remember, only you can think a thought. Only you can have an idea. That idea cannot enter your domain over which you have complete dominion unless you have sent that idea an invitation. So you have to send ideas that you would like to have dominion over your life an invitation. You have to send the ideas that you would like to have dominion over your life an invitation. And that is simply the way it is. You've got to invite the ideas that you want to use in your life to manifest things in your dominion. So that means that anything that I'm experiencing right now is the result of an idea that I've invited because I'm the one that chose to think it. Are we all clear that you're the one that decides on what you want to think?
Yes.
And the Way of Mastering, the Course in Miracles, also teaches us that the reason why we don't recognize the power of our thinking is because we don't feel like it's okay to think what we want to think. That we censor our own thoughts. That we actually won't think anything we want to think. And so it's a mirror of what God is, which is infinite and perfect freedom. So when I say God, I'm not talking about a person. It's talking about the infinite and creative freedom that created us. And the Creator simply never deviates from desiring only the extension of love. So if I am getting in touch with what the Creator's will for me is, then the only thing I desire tonight is to extend love. So we are being given another opportunity to extend love. And that's what a bunch of us were doing before the class started. We were communicating and extending love. So we were actually letting God express itself through us before the class started. And the birthing of that which is like unto the Creator, which is you. So I'm here to extend what I really am to you, and hopefully you will extend what you really are to me. So your will is joined with your Creator's when you decide to birth that which reflects love. Now, what is it that reflects love? The only thing that really reflects love is the good, the holy, and the beautiful. So if I'm extending love to you, then I want to extend the good, and the holy means the innocent and the beautiful. So I'm here to extend the good, the innocent, and the beautiful to you. I'm here to extend the good, the innocent, and the beautiful to you. Now, whether or not you're willing to accept it is based on how you feel about yourself and whether or not you think you deserve it. But that doesn't stop me from extending it to you. Because whatever comes through me has an effect on me. So if I let the good, the beautiful, and the love come through me, I feel it before you could possibly allow yourself to receive it. So everything that I allow myself to feel about you comes through me first. And I like it like that. So then the Way of Mastery says, the mind, as you have come to know the mind, your mind will deceive you. Your mind will deceive you into thinking that, well, if I live that way 95% of the time, then what the heck, 5% of the time I can do something else. Well, that's absolutely true. You can try to be loving 95% of the time, and 5% of the time you can do something else. Yet the more you come to truly desire only that which reflects the truth of who you are. As you grow in spiritual awareness, and all you want to do is be the good, the innocent, and the beautiful, then you will be able to tolerate less and less variance of that within yourself. So the more I allow myself to experience love for you, the less I'll be able to tolerate anything other than love for you. So the more I allow myself to desire only to be the good, the beautiful, and the innocent for you, I won't be able to stand feeling any other way. So the more you let yourself feel what I'm talking about, the more you won't tolerate anything else. And when you won't tolerate anything but the good, the beautiful, and the loving, then you won't allow yourself to join with anything in any situation or anybody that you're giving yourself less than that with. You with me on this?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that's why when any mind truly begins to wake up, when your mind truly begins to wake up, then it becomes actually more and more painful to continue certain thoughts and behaviors. So the more conscious you become, it actually becomes more painful when you feel your depression and your fear and your anger and your upset. You will find you can't stay in it the way you used to as you begin to wake up. You know why? Because you know you have a choice and you don't have to feel that way. You see, people who think that it's natural to suffer all the time, they tolerate it a lot because they think that's normal. But the ones you begin to experience the good, the beautiful, and the innocent, and you're used to feeling some good stuff and some love, then when you put yourself in those types of thoughts, feelings, and emotions and beliefs, it actually feels more intense than it used to. And it's not that it's more intense than it used to be, it's that you are more aware that you don't have to feel that way. All right, you with me on that? Like the ones you have a really loving relationship, you won't be able to put up that BS that you used to put up with in the past. You won't even head in that direction. You won't be able to tolerate it. because you know what it feels like to be in the presence of real love. But if you've never been in the presence of real love, then you don't know the comparison between the two, so it's easy to stay in the stuff that you've been in before. So that's why the gap becomes less and less. What gap? The gap of unconsciousness. What is unconsciousness? What is unconsciousness? Well, it's the gap in your mind that tries to defend its choices. Unconsciousness is me trying to defend choices that don't work and never have worked, perceptions that don't work for me, and until finally that the mind rests in complete vulnerability. If you defend your old ways of looking at things that have not worked for you and brought you the joy and the abundance and the happiness that you want, then that's unconsciousness, because only an unconscious person would try to keep a way of thinking and being that's not serving them. You got to be unconscious to stay the way you are if you don't like it. Does that make total sense? If I hate the hell out of myself and I'm not doing nothing about it, then I'm an unconscious person. Now, unconscious people have pretty bodies. Just look at TV. So you have to learn how to go beyond the body to the consciousness of the person that you're dealing with. Because you're going to be dealing with their consciousness more than their physical form. Their physical form is just going to be a means for their consciousness to express. Wow. So I've often said, conscious people also have bodies. So you can have it all. You can have good conversation, good communication, and the person be pleasant to your perception. So how can you tell when you're becoming conscious? Well, your mind lives in complete innocence. And no longer, let me listen to this carefully. Please listen carefully. When you are becoming conscious, you no longer fear change within your way of thinking. So a person that's becoming conscious, they're not afraid to change their way of looking at things. A person that's unconscious is terrified to think anything differently than what they've always thought. One of the reasons why people who have very fundamental beliefs will absolutely talk as if they are absolutely certain that their way is right and the only way is because of the underlying uncertainty that they have about it. So uncertain, so afraid that they don't even question it. That's how great the fear is. That if I even let a little slight opposite point of view happen, that's too threatening. So I've got to act like my way is the only way, and it's the only way that anybody should be, because I have so much doubt about it that I'm afraid to even entertain another point of view. Wow. Hello? Hello? So how can you tell when you're becoming conscious? When you're becoming conscious, you no longer explain. It's nothing I detest more than being in relationships where I'm constantly having to explain myself to the other person. Every second, I got to explain to you where I'm coming from, explain to you what I want, explain. And also, the mind that's becoming conscious no longer defends. You know, if I'm sure I'm Earl Purdy, I don't have to defend the idea that you think I'm somebody else. Because if I know who I am, and if I know what's true for me, how I can tell is I no longer feel the need to defend it. So the less I defend, the more I believe what I'm talking about, the more I feel like I need to defend my point of view, the more I'm unsure of it. And also, the mind no longer seeks to convince. So when I'm becoming conscious, I'm not trying to convince any of you about anything, and I'm not doing that tonight. I rest assured, I'm not trying to convince you about anything. That's how I show my love, is I make what I share in my class a gift. And when you give somebody a gift, you don't have any conditions on when they receive it, how they receive it, or if they receive it. Because I trust that you will see the value in anything that comes through me the minute that you no longer see that it does not benefit you and you see it could benefit you. At that point, then you will hear it. So you give a gift and you relinquish all concern about how it's used, if it's truly given. It's not like I give you a toaster for your wedding present and then you wake up in the morning and I'm sitting in the kitchen to make sure you're using it for toast. Because if I do that, I've just imprisoned you with the present that I just gave you. So when you give something to somebody and you truly give it, you're not concerned about whether they use it and if they use it or not. So if you're a conscious mind, you merely abide. What does that mean? You merely abide. You just give yourself over to the stream of love that would flow through your mind. That means every idea presented by somebody else's mind becomes something to live with. So when you say something to me, I'm going to, number one, I'm going to digest it. First you tell me what you're thinking and what you're feeling, and I'm going to what? Not defend, and I'm just going to digest what you were sharing with me. Now what does that mean to digest? Notice I'm asking the question behind everything. What does it mean to digest what you're saying to me? It means that I'm going to see if there's a jewel or a treasure within what you just said to me that can add to the beauty of my own expression of the good, the holy, and the beautiful. In other words, everything you say to me becomes grist for the meal. So you're talking to me, I'm going to digest what you're talking to me by seeing if there's a gift in what you just said to me that I could use to bring more good, more beauty, and more love into my own life and to express it. So I'm listening to you in terms of what you're saying that can benefit me and you. That's digesting it with an open mind. I'm not listening to you from the perspective of how many flaws can I find in everything you just said. Some people come to classes and they have one purpose. How many ways can I disagree with everything that this person in front of me is saying? And some people come not defending, totally open, realizing there might be another way to look at things, and they say, okay, he said 10 sentences, there was one sentence I can buy, I can use that sentence, and I'm going to walk out here and I'm going to use that sentence because I see the good, the beauty, and the holy in it. I'm going to drop all the other stuff that he said that I didn't perceive correctly and not focus my attention on that. I'm going to use what I can see as the jewel of what was said tonight. You notice how these answers are coming at us, that we're being totally told how we could transform our experience if we chose to. And have you noticed that there's not one single thing I've said that you couldn't do tonight? Remember, an answer that comes from spirit is always something you can do now that you're adequate to do and that you want to do. Anything that's coming from your ego always seems like it's something that you have to do in the future, and there's a struggle in order for you to accomplish it. And you got to figure out how it's supposed to happen. That's how you can tell your plan from God's plan according to this. Based on that, I'm full of my plans. Because all my plans are made for the future. When I get through school, when I get through studying, when I get through this, when I get through with that, when I convince somebody of this, when I have, then I'm going to be happy. Those are ego plans. Those are just the plans that we make up separate from spirit. No wonder I don't always feel satisfied. Makes perfect sense. So, question, comments about anything you've heard so far out of what's been said from the way of mastery. Any ahas, comments, or questions? Well, we just look at each other for 5 minutes.
So one of my favorite quotes is, "The truth needs no defense." And so when you were reading this, it made me smile, but it also reminded me of the essence of truth. You know, the thing we defend the most is us. And the more that we fall in love with and aware of ourselves, then the less we have to defend ourselves.
Right.
So it's not even so much the belief system as it is just the being of our own innocence that needs no defense. And so I would love to have you expand on that. No need for defense.
Well, with a defense, it would be me believing that at some level I'm being attacked. If I defend myself, I'm attacked. In my defenselessness, I will be strong. So if I believe I need to defend, then that means I believe there's a threat. If I believe there's a threat, there will be one. Because whatever I believe is what I create and what I perceive. So if I see myself as innocent, I don't believe I deserve to suffer, because no one believes they deserve to suffer if they really feel like they're innocent. Have you noticed how people protest when they think that they're being unfairly treated because they think they're innocent? I don't think I deserve to suffer because I'm innocent. So when you are focusing in on your innocence and you're letting go of anything that makes you feel guilty, you are decreasing the drama, the lack, and the attack in your life. If you believe that you're guilty, you're asking the universe to punish you. And then you create a lot of drama in your experience and a lot of lack in your experience. So good people think being good is feeling guilty, but feeling guilty is a request and attack. And so if you're really a good person and you think you're a really, really good person, then you think you need to really, really feel guilty. Because good people feel really, really, really guilty. So they get a lot of attack or things that they don't enjoy. Now, does that mean that we don't make mistakes, and mistakes are for correction? Of course they are, but they're for loving correction, not punishment. See the difference?
Yeah.
If I'm making a mistake, if I think 1 and 1 is 5 and you smack me upside the head in punishment for writing 1 and 1 is 5, do I still think 1 and 1 is 5? Exactly. So punishment never corrects anything. The correction corrects. We believe punishment corrects and it doesn't change anything. We send people to prison, punish them without any kind of rehabilitation or education. They come out of the prison more angry and upset and attacking than they did when they came in. We have such an insane belief of how we heal, and the truth teaches that we do that because there's some part of us that believes that we need to be punished, so we want everybody else to be. Because what I want to happen to you is really what I want to happen to me. So if I want to know how I feel about how I want the universe to handle my mistakes, it will be how I want the universe to handle your mistakes. And if I believe you should be punished for your mistakes, as soon as I make one, I'm going to be punished. See, if I make a mistake, I want you to forgive me. But if you make one, I want to hang you from the highest tree. I want you to go straight to the electric chair. But if I do it, I want you to go, I think I need to have some mercy on Earl and try to rehabilitate him and help him. So how do I really think Earl should be treated? It'll be exactly the way I think you deserve to be treated if you make a mistake. So how do I get in touch with what I think about myself? It's the way I think about you. Anybody else?
How about that?
Okay. All right. Cool. So again, so now there's no longer a need to be in defense. The body doesn't tighten. The breath doesn't grow short. There is only vulnerability. There is no longer a need to hide. There's no longer a need to hide. There's no longer the need to be concerned with the perception of others. Since you know a perception, why should I be concerned about your perceptions of me when your perceptions of me can't hurt me? You all can think the worst thoughts you could feel about me right now. I don't like to break it to you, but I won't feel it. Your perceptions can't hurt me. So why are you feeling guilty about your perceptions when they don't hurt anybody? You can think the worst you can think of me right now. You're not hurting me, so big deal. You don't like me. Big deal. So you don't like me. Your perception hasn't hurt me, so why are you feeling guilty about it? I'm feeling guilty because I don't like you. Yeah, but you're not hurting me by not liking me. Now, if you physically attack me, that's a different deal. But your perceptions don't hurt anybody. That should be good news. Okay, that should be something that we believe. Now, why aren't we glad to hear that?
Everybody's perceptions are different.
Now, but they're not hurting you. See, that's the good news. Your perceptions are, now, if I give that perception you have of me meaning that hurts me, then I hurt me, you didn't. If you can call me anything, and if I get my feelings hurt, then I was the one that hurt my feelings because I was the one that gave what you said power. So your perceptions can't hurt me.
I'm not jumping up and down because I'm thinking that it hurts me. I have those perceptions, and that's what makes me feel guilty. Is I see myself having those perceptions, and I'm thinking I'm in trouble.
Well, you're only in trouble if you don't choose to change the perception. So if you are having perceptions that are hurting you, and you're still choosing to use those perceptions, then it's you that's trying to do it to you. So therefore you can change your mind anytime you want to and no longer hurt yourself through your perceptions. That's what's so cool about it. If I'm the one that's doing it to me, then I can stop it. If you're the one that's doing it to me, I can't necessarily stop it. So even if you end up saying at first, oh my God, it's my perceptions that's hurting me, it's my perceptions that's hurting me, oh my goodness, well, it's your freaking perceptions that's hurting you. So who is it that's making them but you, Earl? I'm telling you, all this is the phones tonight. Now, did you hear what I said?
Yes.
If your feelings are hurt right now and it's you doing it, stop.
Sometimes it doesn't seem easy or even possible.
Because you don't think it's easy or even possible.
Okay.
If you don't think it's easy or even possible, it's not really about whether you think it's easy or even possible. The real issue is, are you motivated to do it? See, that's the issue. Are you motivated? Because all you have to do is tell yourself something different, even if you don't believe it.
And that's okay?
That's where the change of mind starts. See, one of the main ways that we keep from changing ourselves is telling ourselves we have to believe it when we say it.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of understanding that what's really happening is that we're introducing a new idea to ourselves that we want to eventually believe is true, which means the first stage is hearing it only. And then repeating it over and over again. That's why you hear me say, an advanced class is not you constantly getting new information that you're not using. Is everybody clear on that?
Yeah.
We tend to think advanced is getting more and more information that we don't use. But it only becomes a burden when you study more and more books and you don't use any of the things that the book is saying. It becomes a burden, and it actually becomes something else that you beat yourself up about that you say you're not doing. Does that make sense? You know, the more information I get that I don't use, the more my ego can attack me about how I'm not changing. So it would be better to get one thought that I work constantly than to give myself all these different books and all these different workshops and all these different TV shows and all these different classes, and I'm not using any of them. They become a burden. You would have been better off never picking up the books if your desire is to have peace. And many times truth students think it's, let me give myself enormous volumes of reading and information. And now I'm more enlightened because have you read this book? Have you read that book? Have you read this one? Have you read that one? Well, you need to read this one over here. And you need to read this one over here. You know, that only means the person hasn't found their path yet. And so therefore they're searching around to find the form of truth that they can do. Now some of us, like me, we find our path and we're not interested in reading 9,000 different books. We're interested in utilizing and practicing the information that we've gotten from the path that we've accepted as ours. You got it? So if you're one of those people that's jumping from book to book, class to class, that's innocent. It just means you haven't discovered the form of truth that you're willing to do yet. But those of you who say, oh my God, I really love the Way of Mastery, or I really love the Course in Miracles, it really speaks to me, then stop reading a lot of other stuff and work on those books. That's too easy. You mean I actually sought and I found? I'm used to just seeking. I'm a seeker. So I just seek all the time. But what if I actually found? I found.
Yes.
But you mustn't fall in love with the road sign. Because the book is just a road sign. And people fall in love with the road. Could you imagine how funny it would look if you were driving down the expressway and then you saw a group of people standing in front of one of the signs worshiping it? Instead of using the sign to point to where they're trying to go. That's what a lot of people do too, right? They fall in love with the book. Like, in other words, if the Holy Spirit told me, okay, you've done enough of the Way of Mastery, you've done enough of the Course in Miracles, now it's time for you to do something else, then you wouldn't see me teaching this or doing this. Because I'm not going to fall in love with the road sign. How do I know that I still need to do it? Because I'm inspired by it. That's how I know. No one makes me read the Course. I never pick up the Course in Miracles and go, okay, let me do the Way of Mastery. Okay, I'm going to try to go to that class. That's not what you say about your path. And it's certainly not what you say about your teacher. I can't wait to get there. And even if you feel crappy, especially if you feel crappy, you come. Right? So we're all equals. Like I often say, I have no desire to be a leader. I have no desire to be your leader. We are equal. We're all trying to wake up together. I'm just willing to let my body be used more as a speaker. Got that? I'm working on myself just like you're working on yourself. So if I cuss you out, don't worry about it. But you're spiritual. You're not supposed to call me a bastard. But I do it with love. I'll do it with I'll be so sweet when I say, you bastard. But if you think you are, you'll go, oh my God. See, my reactions show that I thought I was a bastard. If I didn't and you called me a bastard, I go, how interesting. You are a bastard. Why? You call me one. Take a bastard to see a bastard. Hello, take a bastard to see a bastard. Take a selfish person to see a selfish person. Takes a mean person to see a mean person. If two people are talking to me, and one person is criticizing the other person, then I know from that person's perception of that other person what kind of mind they have. And then if I talk to another person, and then they see that person who just criticized them, and they don't even know it, and they say to me, boy, I really thought that was a really cool person, then I know that's a really cool person. See, they just revealed to me who I shouldn't trust. They think they were giving me information that was helpful to me. And they just told me that that's how their mind operates. And you know what else I learned? Is that I'm not so special that they wouldn't look at me the same way if I did something that displeased them. So they also let me know how they talk about me. Now, what am I going to do about that? Nothing. I'm not going to defend. I'm not going to attack. I'm just going to be what? Aware. So, like I've said often, I could know you hated my guts, and you never know that I know you hate my guts. Because I never tell you I know it. Ever. Because then you would hide it. And I need to know where you're coming from, so I'm not going to tell you what I know about you. I'll smile in your face. I'll give you the biggest hug. Oh! Why? Because you're me. You're calling for love. That's the only reason why you would have seen me that way. Because I know if you don't see me as a beautiful person, it just means that you don't see me. That's all. Because I'm a beautiful person. I know where I'm coming from in my heart. I know what my motivation is when I come to teach these classes. If you don't trust me, that's okay. I know where I'm coming from. That's all that matters, is that I know where I'm coming from. Do you know that? That's all that matters, is that you know where you're coming from, not everybody else. Because they're only going to see themselves. Woo! So, don't defend, don't explain. Oh, it's deep stuff, isn't it? I'm telling you. You think I'd be surrounded by a lot of people if you're that way? No. No. A person who doesn't love themselves cannot be around a person that's loving them. They can't do it. They can't do it because they don't trust you enough to be around you. And the more loving you are, the more suspicious they become of you. I back off so fast if I think I'm frightening you. Because that's the purpose, is to give you love, not fear. But if you open, I'll be open. That's too damn difficult, isn't it? This is too complicated stuff that we studied tonight, isn't it? It's ridiculous. Let's talk about chakras in the 10,000 dimensions of the Kama Sutras. Because we'll listen to that. This is too friggin' simple. I need something less complex than this, you know what I'm saying? I mean, more complex, excuse me, more complex. We love complexity. Simplicity doesn't get us off, because then there's no excuse for not doing it. But if I can make it complex, then I can delay acting on it. So I'm a complex person with complex problems, with complex issues, with complex people, in a complex situation in my complex life. Because then I don't have to do a darn thing about none of it. Because it's so complicated. I'm complicated. You don't know what I've been through. Yes, I do. The same thing all the rest of us have. Illusion of truth. Love or fear. You just got your own flavor. Your own personal way of doing it. Right? So he says that there's no longer need to hide. There's no longer the need to be concerned with the perceptions of others, since the perception can't harm you. There is only such love of yourself, with a capital S, that nothing less than God or love will do. I love myself so much that nothing less than love will do. Okay, questions, comments?
How do you, okay, I had a situation this week with someone very, very close to me who is, they really struggle with exactly what you're talking about. And we were talking, and he said, you know, I really love you. And I said, well, you know I love you. And he said, that hurts me so bad when you say that. It just hurts. And I said, why does it hurt? And he said, because I don't deserve it. And it's like,
So what do?
yeah, that was
You
where
just
I was like,
yeah, you just love them more.
yeah, yeah,
You just demonstrate it more.
yeah.
You just keep doing what you were doing. And then remember, when you give a person a gift of your love, you got to relinquish all concern about what? When they receive it, how they receive it, because they'll receive it when they recognize it will help them instead of hurt them. So when he gets to the point that he realizes that an attitude like yours is what he wants, then he'll appreciate what you said. So all of us have received answers we haven't heard yet, love we haven't let ourselves see yet, and nothing trips you out more than when you realize how much love has always been in your life, but your own fear didn't let you appreciate it. And that's what I have to forgive myself for. It's all the love I've always had in my life through so many people that my own self-hatred didn't allow me to appreciate. That's when you say stuff like, if I could see my mom one more time, and I could tell her how I feel. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden you start to wake up. But if you're really awake, you know, you could let your mama know how much you love her right now. That doesn't make any difference that she's not in the body if she's not in the body. Just because she's not in the body doesn't mean she doesn't exist, because we're not bodies. We're spiritual beings having human experience. You're not your body, you're not your body, you're not your body, you're not your body, you're not your body. As a matter of fact, it's sort of like a snack. You are not your body.
That's cool.
Baby, you are not your body. Yes.
I used to have a favorite saying that fear rules, as far as my life is concerned. Fear rules. And now that I'm trying to go the opposite way of that, it seems like the more, even just telling myself, okay, no, fear does not have to rule.
There you go.
I get a bus accident or something like that, like yesterday. I was in a bus accident.
Right.
I'm like, you know, so I keep trying to figure out how can I put this into practical use, because I've trained myself that fear rules.
Right.
And not love.
Right.
That fear is a lot more powerful than love is.
Right.
And that you could scare somebody quicker than you could love somebody, you know. And so I think I'm going through that right now. It's like, no, fear does not rule. And the more I'm saying it, how do I keep that tension from being there when I'm trying to put a different thought into my mind to keep that old pattern of, no, fear rules, you know, not love, fear rules.
Right, right. Well, the first thing you do is you allow it.
Oh, okay.
You know, you allow yourself to still recognize that there's a part of your mind that realizes that thinks fear rules. And then you don't try to repress it, stop it, defend it, explain it. And then you remind yourself that you're giving that thought all the meaning that it has for you. Okay? Then you become grateful that you have the power and the ability to look at it differently. And then you remind yourself that you're still as God created you, which means that even if you think fear rules, you'll still love and only love. And you ask for another way to look at it, and then you just use it whether you believe it or not, because you believe that fear rules because you repeated it to yourself over and over again until you believed it. Now you're going to believe that love rules, so you have to repeat it to yourself over and over again. But here's the cool part. Let me hear the cool part. You sure? You want to hear the cool part? Okay. Okay. The cool part is it won't take as long to see the results of saying love rules as it did to have the results of saying fear rules, because love is what's real and true. So the whole universe and spirit and all of creation does everything possible to support the idea that love rules in your life. So it doesn't take as long to correct the error as it did to make it.
Just keep on saying.
That's right. And that's the error that we tend to make, is that we want to keep getting new information rather than repeat the information that we've already gotten, to the point that it becomes our first response to what's happening. You know why? Because we identify with our thoughts and we build a whole identity. Like you got a whole identity around the idea of fear rules, and you learn how to manipulate in your reality around the idea that fear rules. You see what I'm saying? So you don't know how to move around the world with love rules.
Right.
So that's why people will stay in their misery even if they have an alternative, because they built a life around that. So they know how to not trust people. You see what I mean? They've already figured out how to deal with not trust. But you say, love people and be completely open? Oh, hell no. See, I don't know how to do that. So I'm going to be scared to do that because I built a life around you can't trust people.
Right.
And since I built a life around fear rules, then I was constantly getting justification that fear rules by seeing situations that kept me totally afraid, that made me believe that fear rules. Because I haven't learned the core belief, which is what? My beliefs make my reality. That I'm gonna always see what I believe, and it's impossible to not believe what you see. But it's equally impossible to see what you don't believe. Okay, so if I believe that it's not okay for me to communicate with you all, then I will see justifications for that. If I believe that there is justification for communicating with you all, then I'll see the people in the room that seem to be open to what I'm saying. Because my beliefs guide my perception, and then I edit out. See, if I can only see red, green can be in the room and I'd never see green. Is that true?
Yeah.
Right, but it could be there. But I can only see green. So fear rules. I only see fear. So the most loving person in the world could be sitting right next to me. I absolutely wouldn't see them because I see green, which is fear. I don't see red, which is the love. So when you change perception, you start to see what was always there, but you didn't see it. And you stop seeing the thing that you used to believe was there, to the point that you don't even have a day that you're not experiencing love. Sometimes I'm freaked out at how much love I experience from total strangers all day long. Because I used to tell myself, well, if you just go to these classes, then you have this kind of vibe, but out there in the real world, it's not, it doesn't work. But if you keep on doing the repetition, you will start to see it happening in what you call the world out there. I promise you.
But what about, and also the part that says the partly innocent can be apt to be pretty foolish. So
yeah, we are beginning to believe that we're innocent and we still do dumb stuff.
Okay.
Right? We're beginning to do this, but we still do dumb stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. But
so sometimes I
right.
think I'm being loving or whatever, and
right.
I'm just being foolish because probably partly.
Right, because if I already
right now.
Right. Well, if I already knew how to do it, I wouldn't have any need to be studying.
Okay. So
right. If I already knew how to love everybody in here, there'll be no need for the class.
That's going to happen, and that's fine.
Allow it.
Okay.
Because if you don't have tolerance for your weakness, then you let it rule you.
Okay.
And how can you not succeed if only weakness stands in the way? Weakness doesn't have any power. That's why it's called weakness. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I know I don't mess with you. I know. Duh. It's like, what? Yeah. If you think your problem is your weakness, then it's no problem. If it's weakness, it has no power.
So if I'm innocently going about, what I think my good intentions are of being loving, and it comes back as a slap in the face or whatever.
Right.
Does that even happen, or am I interpreting that wrong? I'm trying, you know what I'm saying? Or is it just my good intentions are not enough?
Your good intentions are not enough.
Okay. So
what you should trust is your willingness.
Okay.
Put your faith in your willingness to be loving, not your good intentions, because the most dastardly things that's ever happened to people have been through people's good intentions.
Okay.
Please.
Just put the willingness.
He says, put all that energy that you're trying to put into good intentions. The book says, put it in your willingness to change your mind. Take that energy and put it into your willingness rather than trying to have good intentions. Because I really don't know what's best for you.
Right.
So if I sit up and say, I'm going to help you, I don't really know what's best for you. So it's arrogant. It's arrogant to sit up and decide who you're going to help.
Well, I'm trying to help me.
Yeah. Well, because you don't know how many people are in therapy today because of your help.
Really?
The funniest thing is that people who really are not happy themselves and don't know how to trust themselves and have faith in themselves are always trying to help people. It's kind of weird, isn't it? It's like Stevie Wonder trying to help me drive. How much sense do that make? No, Stevie, you sit right over here. You know what I'm saying? So it's always good to recognize that good intentions are not enough, and that being nice doesn't guarantee you're going to be safe.
Okay.
Because you can be nice and dumb. I could be the nicest person in the world and stick a fork in the electric socket. So nice doesn't get it either. And there are so many people that feel like, why do things happen? I'm a nice person. Why is this happening to me? I'm really, really nice. I wouldn't harm anybody. I know you're nice, but you're dumb. And that's not an insult. You just don't know.
Right.
That's what Jesus said, right? Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do.
So even my good intentions toward myself are misdirected.
Obviously, or we wouldn't be in the situations that we're in that we're unhappy in.
Well,
Because I don't know anybody that gets up in the morning and say, I want to screw myself today.
Yeah.
Right? But then end up at the end of the day say, I feel screwed. You know, well, you had good intentions, but somewhere along the line you didn't have awareness.
Okay.
See what I mean?
Right.
Okay. That's why you have a spiritual practice, because then you are tuning into wisdom greater than your own. And that's what every parent knows what I'm talking about. It's like you could save your children so much pain in so many ways that they never allow you to do that because they think they know. And what's funny is that what you learn as a parent is a lot of times is just to let them go ahead and give themselves that experience, even though you could have saved them all that, because you have there is something to be said about life experience. There is something to be said about you've been on the planet a lot of years that could be helpful. Other societies and cultures revere their elders. In the United States, we don't. We act like they're stupid. So I'm here to show my parents how to be. They did it all wrong, and I'm here now to correct everything that they're doing, rather than saying, let's work together as a team. I have a new perspective that's coming from my age and my youth that could be helpful mixed with the wisdom that you have through your life experience. Then you get a chance to express your wisdom through your youth while taking advantage. I used to love to go visit my grandfather and just sit with him and listen to everything that he had to say to me. I was a weird kid. I actually really liked adults. And I liked to listen to what they were talking about and what they had to say. And I also learned very young that if I really wanted to be free, all I had to do was obey. And I would watch my friends rebel, and they would get more and more restrictions, more and more restrictions, more and more restrictions. And I go, you said be home at 10? Okay, I'm at home at 9:55. You know what they say to me? Now you can come home at 11. Came home at 11? Well, now you can come home at 1. Come home at 1? Well, I trust you if you're out all night. And that's the way it always works. That's the way it always works. Now, it's okay to be rebellious against something that's not true. But once you're dealing with something that's true and helpful, it's stupid to be rebellious. And so I understand the rebellion that we see with the young people around us, because we're selling them a bill of goods that they know isn't true because it hasn't even worked for us. So they're looking for somebody to tell them the truth. Hello? So the minute you tell them the truth, they respond. But they can tell when you're just selling them a bill of goods. If you're telling them something you're not doing yourself, which is really popular among parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what to do now. I'm not doing it. Don't you dare smoke. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a deep, man. Okay, we can go a little. Anybody else? We go a little bit further. Are we doing good? Yes.
I just wanted to ask you to talk a little bit more about the power of the unconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like Victoria just used an example, we all have examples where she said, like, fear rules, like, it was so ingrained in her unconsciousness that it was kind of leading her life.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if you could talk a little bit more just about the unconscious mind and how it does, unless we're conscious, we bring our consciousness.
Yeah, the whole spiritual path is the process of bringing the unconscious to the conscious. Because once you become conscious of a pattern, then it becomes a choice to continue it. And so now you're in the position of power. Now, if I wasn't aware of my patterns, then my patterns can run me because I'm not aware that they're there. But the minute you become aware, like we come to classes like this and it tells us that we're the one that's creating our reality through our thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs. And then you walk out of here and you still think negative thoughts about yourself, then you've actually got your pattern exposed, but you are choosing to perpetuate it. So now you can no longer act like you didn't have any possibility of being able to change it. Once you become conscious, there's no excuse. Then it becomes just your choice to keep on thinking that way. Because you know you can think whatever you want to think, but you're choosing to keep on thinking that. Now, the Course teaches that the only reason why a person continues to choose something that's causing them pain is that there's a payoff that they're getting out of it that's more appealing to them than the pain they're going through. And the pain that they're going through is worth it to get whatever it is they're getting out of that pain. There's some kind of a payoff. And that's why they don't change, right? And then, then if you want to know what's going on in your unconscious, then the easiest way to know what's going on in your unconscious is to pay attention to what you see. Because everything you see is a reflection of your unconscious mind. So I'm walking around every day in my unconscious mind. I'm walking around. My life today was me experiencing my deepest unconscious thoughts and beliefs. Because that's how you get in touch with thoughts that you are not aware of. They are represented by the people and circumstances in your life. So if I say I'm a really nice person and everybody around me is abusing me, then that's my way of knowing I have abusive thoughts toward myself that I'm unaware of. And they are then getting me in touch with those thoughts so that I can ask for another way to look at it. So there's nothing really hidden, not even your subconscious mind, because your subconscious mind, that is your physical universe that you're living in. You're literally walking around in your own mind. You think your mind is in your body, but really your body is in your mind. And you know that's true, right? Because you got an opinion about it. So your image of your body is in your own mind. You look at your body and you don't like it, then what you're looking at is the body in your mind. And somebody else could be looking at it and going, oh my God, you so fine. Woo! They got your body in their mind. And not only in your mind, they got it on their mind.
So when you're trying to change that, fair rules to love rules, it seems like a lie. It seems like, so you keep telling yourself, okay, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the part of you...
It doesn't seem real.
Of
because
course.
It's like you're trying to convince yourself of something.
Which means you broke rule number one.
What?
Which was, you don't have to believe it at first, you just say it.
Okay.
Right? That's why you stop. Just like you said, well, I'm saying it and I'm trying to, well, that's why you stop. But you stop because you're believing you should believe it immediately.
Yeah,
okay, you see what I'm saying? And that's just a trick to keep you from saying it enough to believe it. Because don't forget now, the part of you that is used to being the way it's always been is not giving up the ghost without a fight. Your old self is not going, oh, isn't that nice? He's going to a way of master class. I'm going to let her get rid of me. No, your old self is saying, oh, it's on now.
Right.
Okay, so that's why you walk right out of class and have the worst relationship you ever had in your life.
But I don't want to have that fight. I just want to say it. And,
that's right.
I don't want the fight. I just want to change it.
Thank you.
I don't want to
repetition. And what's the purpose of a relationship? To help you do more repetition, so that your partner will remind you even when you forget. That's the purpose of being in a relationship. It's for you to use your relationship to become evolutionaries. We're here to be the cutting edge kind of person that everybody's going to be one day. We are the evolution of the species. We are made out of the same things that stars are made out of. We're here to be the next big thing. Now, there are a lot of people who study the truth so that they can have a more comfortable, ordinary life. That's perfectly okay. There's another group of people who want to be the means for the creation of something new. That's me. I'm not here to perpetuate the status quo. So, therefore, I can be threatening to people who want to. Because I want to be different. I want to be what a man is supposed to evolve into. I want to have relationships that are the next level of relationship. I want to have the way that I look at prosperity and abundance be the way that a conscious being would look at prosperity and abundance. I'm not here to do the way the world does it better. I'm here to be a means for something new that's even greater to come into this plane. You are your own love virus and you need to inoculate yourself.
Yeah.
You know that this is your mind, and you're in it to infect it with love. You're supposed to be a love virus for your own mind, and you want to be contagious. That when people around you, for some reason, they just act more loving. They don't even know why. They'll say stuff like that. I don't know why I'm being this way around you. I'm not usually like this. Are you a warlock? No, I'm a warlick. So you actually like, people go, I'm not usually this way. Why am I being this way around you? Then you have infected them with your energy of love. You reminded them of the way they really are, but they forgot. That's why we cling so desperately to people who we feel the love that we are with, because we mistakenly think they're the one that's causing it. And so that's why you cling to them, and you don't want to share them, and you don't want them to be free, because you see them as the source of your happiness, instead of seeing them as the conduit for what you are giving yourself, which means you could give it to yourself through everybody. But that confronts with our desire for specialness. I don't want you to feel about anybody else the way you feel about me. And I don't. I like everybody else more. So, because who do you get the most upset about? With who do you judge the most? Who do you get the most angry at? The person that's the most special to you. That's the price they pay for being special. You don't care who I was with last night if I'm not special to you. You're not condemning me, judging me, criticizing me, or anything. But if I'm special to you, then you got an investment in it. Wow. Specialness is the absolute cheap way that we condemn and judge and limit each other. So does that mean we get rid of specialness? No, it means we get rid of the fear and insanity that we're using with each other. That's what I'm saying. We're not trying to get rid of your special relationships. We're trying to get rid of the craziness. It's okay to have one-on-one relationships. I think it's really humane that you don't give yourself to more than one person. I think it's loving that you only subject one person to you. Wow. Especially if you don't know how to love yet. So I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm just saying if I don't really know how to love, and I'm subject to mistreat myself and mistreat you, it's good that I'm only doing it with one person. And you're the lucky one. And if you're in a romantic relationship, you might get my dysfunctional love. Wow. Isn't that wonderful? I'm making you work so hard for my love, and I don't even know how to love you. So I don't know how to love any of you. I'm trying to learn how to let go of the blocks to doing that. If you allow yourself to get close to me at any level, I'm going to make errors and mistakes. And I'm not going to be consistent in my love all the time because I'm a learner. Now, if you can deal with those conditions, let's roll. But if you're looking for me to be perfect all the time, please stay away. I'm under enough pressure already from myself. I don't need you to add any more to me. I don't know how to love you unconditionally. I don't. Everybody clear about that? Okay. All right. All right. But you know what happens when you say stuff like that? The truth teaches that then the universe send you extremely loving situations, because the easiest way to learn how to be loving is through experiencing it. So if I don't think I'm loved, then the loving part of you will draw loving people to you to show that you're lovable. That's how love teaches you. Fear teaches you by drawing somebody to you that you feel condemned, not enough, and that you have to make sacrifices. That's how it teaches you, through hardship. But love doesn't do it that way. If I ask love to teach me, love can only teach me through love. Love can't teach me through fear. So I don't have to be a perfect lover in order to have love show up, is what I'm saying. That love accepts you where you are. 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 Love doesn't say, when you change, I'll love you. Love meets you exactly where you are and lifts you up. So how can I tell when somebody loves me? They accepted me where I am first. They're not coming to me saying, well, Earl, if I could just tweak you this much, then I could really love you, boy. You know, you just did that a little bit different over there. I could really care about you. Now, see, when you become conscious, you can get in your mind, you go, you may not even say nothing, but you go, okay, they don't love me. So what does that mean? Well, that means that I should not be shocked when they're inconsistent in the way that they react to me and not take it personal because they don't love me. So why should I be getting angry at them? They don't know how yet. Does that make sense? How do I know you can't be consistent? Because you're trying to change me. How do I know you don't love me? Because you're trying to change me. But you should change it. You should change for the better. You should, yes, but we start where I am. Because where I am is really beneficial to you, really. This kind of stuff makes me sick. It's too simple. It's just, you don't have any excuses when you do this. It takes all your excuses and it tosses them right out of the window. And that's why classes like this are never enormously big. You would think that if you were in a class that you were being told you were powerful, that you were lovable, and you deserve to be happy, to be an overflowing crowd. You know why? Well, people don't believe it. If I told you you were sinful and guilty, you'd be tired. It'll be a mega church. I'm just telling the truth. I see it every Sunday. I see thousands of people being told they're going to hell. And they give thousands of dollars. You tell people they're innocent, you're lucky if you see them 2 times a month. I've been doing this a long time, y'all.
What do you mean by innocent?
By that I mean that you are not inherently born flawed and bad. That you had to learn that behavior. Something had to happen to you that made you look at yourself in the guilty way. In other words, you didn't come here messed up. That's not your natural state. You got here, and then somebody told you you were born in sin. Somebody told you that you weren't enough. Somebody did not tell you that you were loving and lovable and precious and powerful. And so, since you weren't given that belief, then you're acting out of the opposite of that. And then you experience the negative experiences that even reinforce more that must be true. And so, that's understandable, but once you become an adult, once you become conscious enough to think differently, and you still continue to think that way, that's because you want to, and it's a payoff you're getting out of it. Yes, you see what I mean? Now, we have no excuses. Are we clear about that? We don't have any excuse because we're all adults, and we all, no matter how we got here tonight, we know there's another way we could look at it. So when we walk out of the door, if you continue to not love yourself, it's a choice you're making. And so therefore, you can't blame anybody else for the way that you feel about yourself from this point forward. It's just the way you're choosing to keep on looking at yourself, and that's because there's a payoff. Because what happens is, there's a part of the mind that thinks if you're pitiful enough, you will get attention. See, by me being like this, you're supposed to come up and say, are you okay? What can I do? That's why some people go to parties and they don't join. So they'll attract attention because they're different from everybody else. So somebody come over and say something to them. Because we all want to feel special. That's the one underlying hidden belief of everyone in the world. They want to feel significant. All of us do. We want to feel like we matter.
So misery is a payoff?
Yes. Yes. Misery is just another way to punish yourself so that you can be okay again. Yeah. Have you ever been so miserable that you thought it was about time you let yourself be happy? Have any of y'all done that? That you've been so unhappy that you went,
Yes.
I'm now tired of being unhappy and I'm going to be happy. Okay, that's what I mean. That's the purpose of misery. It's your way of forcing yourself to believe it's fine. Like for instance, if you've been broke for 20 years and all of a sudden you get money start coming, you'll say stuff like, well, it's about time because I've been broke for so long. So sometimes in order to allow ourselves to receive, we have to create lack to the point we feel like it's finally okay to let it in. And the truth is telling us That's not very smart. You could allow yourself to receive your inheritance of love and joy and abundance and peace by simply joining your will to the will that wants you to be happy, by simply saying, I'm going to also believe that the universe wants Earl to be happy, God wants Earl to be happy, and so finally Earl wants Earl to be happy. Now I have joined with the will of God. And so nothing can stop my good. Because I'm in agreement now. But if I think I'm bad, I'm guilty, I'm sinful, I'm not enough, I hurt people, people have hurt me, I'm not in alignment with the will of the universe. And so I'm the one that's blocking it. Wow. Have you ever wanted to give somebody love and they refuse to accept it? Okay, well, it was there, but they chose not to receive it. So they'll say it's not even there. You know, I looked on TV yesterday, and it was a guy, it was a funeral where a young guy had committed suicide, and his friends were hurt a lot, because in his suicide message he was saying he killed himself because he didn't really have any friends and no one he really cared. And his friends were like, what the hell? I know. One of the boys, he was kind of sniffling. He said that wasn't him. I know he couldn't have possibly believed that he didn't have any friends. But he did. But the friends were there. That's us. We're surrounded by the love of God. We're surrounded by abundance. We're surrounded by the opportunity to do it differently. But we're like that guy. We're still wanting to invest in our old way of seeing things, and we want that to be true and don't want the other stuff that we're hearing to be true. But you don't feel that way. You've changed your mind. You're ready to do it differently, or you wouldn't be sitting in this room. So you have the little bit of willingness necessary to change your whole reality. I know you do, because you're here. So would you acknowledge yourself for hearing this much tonight? Give it up to you. Lord have mercy. You're so cool. All right, so let's do the financial expression of appreciation. Thank you for sharing with me in my full-time ministry with the Quail Mastery and the Course in Miracles. Those of you on the internet, thank you so much for sharing with me. And if you want to make a financial expression of appreciation, you can go to my website, earlpurdy.com. And I'm also available for clarity sessions, which are one-on-one sessions where I take all the stuff that I'm teaching and I apply it to the situation that you think you're going through, so that you can get relief and you can get a change. And also, if you're open to astrology and numerology as a way to get some information from Spirit, then I also do that part of it also. So I'm available. Go to my website. It explains what I do, and I do it in person or on Skype. And so I want to send a shout out to the 87 countries that's watching me. And I so appreciate you. Does anybody have an ink pen I could use for a second? Those of you who would like to receive links to these classes that I'm recording so that you can watch them again on your computer, then please sign your name and your email address. And if you're online, please go to my website and sign up for my contact list, because I send out the videos that I make on these classes so that people can listen to them again and watch them again. And so we can do the repeating that we're talking about. Is there anyone in here that needs to add their contact information so they can get a chance and listen to this again? Because how can we say that we believe what we heard, which is that we need to hear it again, and then not want to let ourselves hear it again? Again, Spirit has answered your prayer. Spirit has answered your prayer. Spirit has answered your prayer. God has answered your prayer. Don't be the person that only sees green when there's red right there in front of their face. The answer is here. So ask yourself, if you're not willing to get off of it, ask yourself, what is the payoff that I'm getting out of staying exactly the way I am right now? Because there's a payoff. And never, ever say that there's something missing in your life because there's something outside of you that's causing it. So never say it's your age, it's the economy, it's the ruling government party, it's your race. Every time you attribute anything that you're going through to something outside of yourself, then you're perpetuating the pattern that you want to get rid of. It will never end if you're saying it's being caused by anything except your own thinking, even if it's the stuff you don't like. Because since you don't have to believe it, then you can still go ahead and say it. Because in the beginning you say it. The weird thing that's going to happen is this. The more you take responsibility for what you're going through, and your ego says you shouldn't because you didn't cause it, the more you say I am responsible, not I am to blame, but the more you say I am responsible, the less the drama will increase in your life. And it will eventually go away completely, much to your shock. And all you actually kept saying was, I'm not a victim of the world I see. That's so simple, but man, it takes a lot of spiritual strength to actually say it. It's amazing. It's amazing. So you all really love each other, and you really love yourselves more than you could ever imagine. So let's take 5 minutes again. What I would like to do is this. One thing I heard tonight that I really, you had your hand up. What was your question?
It's probably going to go over the time. It was just, I just wanted to let you know that it does get better. What I did, I was born in a atmosphere or an experience where I was told I was born in sin and all of that stuff. So what I found through Earl's teaching and spiritual practice about how powerful the thoughts are that you believe about yourself, when I could actually look at what I was experiencing, it all symbolized that I feel guilty and different things like that through all of my experiences. So what I did was I did what he said, even though things were still, or you call it the old orders were still coming. I just had to just say, you know what, I'm gonna try this because I feel like it's gonna work. And but I had to keep on at it, even though the things that were coming at me was not validating my new thoughts. Well, I did make it over that hump. And so it does get better and it dies down, and it really, really, really does work. So I just wanted to just encourage you to just, like he said, keep on. And the awareness that I learned through what he was saying, like with my old self-resistant, I went through all of that, but because of the awareness that I held on to and the repetition, it did change, and it has changed. And my experience is completely different. I don't have as many experience now. I look at my physical experience as being helpful to keep me in touch with thoughts that I'm still hiding from myself. So I've learned now to look at it completely different based off of the repetition was the key. It was the key, even though it didn't look like it at first. And just being around people that's wanting the same thing, it was helpful. So I'm living proof that you can still have peace regardless of what the outer circumstances is, based off of the meaning that you're giving to your experiences, even though you don't believe it and it's not looking like it. It has proven to be true for me. So I just I was where you were at, like, but I just
Everything revolts. You're beautiful and wonderful.
I just love it when you talk dirty.
really, it did.
Well, that was so
but
good.
I had to drown myself with it, and totally just like what he was saying. I mean, I listened to the classes over and over again. I mean, I had to keep on, and now my life is reflecting the new beliefs that I have about myself. My life is showing me, okay, I'm loving myself now. When my life showed me that I wasn't loving myself prior to me waking up, but I had to limit my awakening came with experiences that I thought I was a victim based off of what was happening. So I really had to be open to wanting to be happy more than I wanted to be right. So I just surrendered and, you know, hey, I'm not a victim of what it looks like it is, because I'm promised that that peace is on the other side of this if I choose to do it different, and I did, because I was so unhappy, and I wanted that, like Earl was teaching, and I had to listen. I listened to it, and he said that you have to want what's on the other side of what appears to be the block or the situation that's keeping you. And I literally had to just blank out and just not pay attention to what was going on, and just in my heart sincerely do whatever the like come to the class and do what it says, even though it even it's like I've learned another language. So, but I've applied it and it works. So I'm looking forward to strengthening those the beliefs that I want to have continue to want to have about myself, to allow my experience to continue to show me even more of this unlimitedness that the spiritual practice promises. And before I stumbled onto the Way of Mastery and A Course in Miracles, I was one that was seeking, and like he said, it made sense, and I didn't think about that. But once I found the Course in the Way of Mastery, I knew that that was my spiritual practice. And so I've dedicated, okay, I'm going to do this, especially getting the results. I'm excited about it, to keep on building and see how this is going to, continue to grow and turn out. So I just wanted to encourage you, because I've been where you at, to know that, yes, it does work. Yes.
Cool. A witness in the house. Witnesses in the house. Okay, so take a breath. We're gonna bring it. We are now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to come in for the landing, and I want to acknowledge you for flying Raj Airlines. And I want you to hear this. It's a song by a good friend of mine, Reverend Yolanda. You got to assume complete responsibility. Number one. God is. Remember this. God is. No longer explain. No longer defend. No longer seek to convince. No longer defend. Pay attention to the lyrics. That means love is. You have a mind that can live in complete innocence. Don't be alarmed. Don't be afraid to change your way of thinking now. Do your spiritual practice now. You can't do it alone. I choose love. I choose joy. I choose joy. Because God is. So love yourself so much that you won't be able to tolerate mistreatment. I say love yourself so much that you will not limit your joy at all. And the more that you love yourself, the less you're going to tolerate BS in your life. The way that the more that you love yourself, you won't be able to tolerate the things that you used to tolerate. If you don't have as much patience with pain as you used to have, if you find yourself not being able to take what you used to take, If it seems like you're more impatient with pain than ever before, that doesn't mean that you're not getting it because you're more impatient. It means that you're getting it because when you love yourself, you won't allow yourself to experience anything less than the joy that you deserve, because you're here to create the beautiful, the holy, and the good. That's what you are. That's what you are. That's what you are. That's what you are. I'll say it again. You deserve love and only love. I say you deserve love and only love. I deserve love and only love. So anybody that want to say that one time with me to get it out here, I'll say it again. I deserve love and only love. I deserve love and only. Let's have some fun. I deserve love and only love. I deserve love and now if you don't mind, put your hands out like that. I deserve love and only you deserve love. That's all you deserve. You're so juicy and cute and luscious, and I deserve love. I say we deserve love and only love. Let's say we deserve love and only love. We deserve abundance and only abundance. We deserve abundance and only abundance. We deserve abundance and only abundance. And one of my favorites is this. I've said it before. We can do it again. I deserve to be paid for having fun. 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 Yeah. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for coming out and reminding yourself again that we deserve love. And remember, you're going to only receive from your physical reality the energy that you are putting out. And tonight we put out some cool stuff. So hugs are available. Thanks for showing up. You're a blessing so much.